If you're a facilities manager at a warehouse and your HVAC system goes down, it can turn up the heat, literally. But don't sweat it, Grainger has you covered. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products for all your operations, including warehouse HVAC maintenance. And even better, they offer access to experts and fast delivery, so you and your warehouse can both keep your cool. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
A common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
Blaine Holt, he's a retired U.S. Air Force Brigadier General, also former C-17 combat commander, and also former U.S. Deputy Military Representative to NATO. General Holt, this is stunning. This guy who was apparently planning a mass attack on America on Election Day. It's an Afghan national that came in during the dismal withdrawal of Afghanistan by the Biden-Harris team. Turns out he was working for the CIA in Afghanistan. I mean, how could this happen?
Great to be with you all this afternoon. Yeah, that's just one fact about this case that is absolutely needing much more examination. Go back to 3 years ago when Kabul fell. This young man was a security guard, I guess, for the CIA. But that's not where we're getting fragmented information on the case. It's actually what the FBI is doing and how they are painting this narrative. They're saying he is an ISIS sympathizer of sorts and that he had paid for his wife and daughter to head back to Afghanistan next week. Well, if he's ISIS, the first thing that happens to ISIS people when they land in Afghanistan is they're executed immediately because the Taliban and Al-Qaeda are now in firm control of Afghanistan. So whatever the government's putting out, they better go back and recheck that. And what we need to know is how many ticking time bombs are there like this, whether they came across the southern border and they're some other nationality or they're from some terror group, or it's the unvetted people that came out of Afghanistan. Meanwhile, our friends that I'm still trying to get out of that country and area were left there standing in their own sewage at the Abbey Gate as unvetted people took off.
You know, you hit a great point, and I'm telling you, I get so nervous when I saw these new numbers. These are the ones we know of. Over 400,000 convicted criminals that are in our country at large, by the way. This is from Biden-Harris's Department of Homeland Security numbers. I mean, how many potential sleeper cells or other folks? That doesn't even include the gotaways, the ones we have zero idea of.
Yeah, when I talk to groups around the nation, one of the things that I make sure I point out when we're talking about geopolitics and the war in the Middle East is, you know, don't think for 5 seconds that this war can't come to Main Street in hours. And the reason is you've got Iran getting backed into a corner now, the Ayatollah looking for options, the regime starting to show signs of cracking, maybe a revolution. If that happens, what's to stop them from activating terror cells for all these fighting-age men that we know are organized in our country? People mistakenly think Tren de Aragua from Venezuela is simply from Venezuela. It's not the case. They have a very ironclad relationship to Hezbollah and the Iranians. That's why the Iranian Navy goes there. So when we look at wars overseas, no longer can you say that war won't exist here in some format in our own nation, and we have to be very alert and very vigilant. Something that looks like a crime could easily just be a terror hit from somebody else's orders.
By the way, speaking of which, I don't know if you saw this. This just came out a little bit ago that Michael Waltz, a former Green Beret congressman in Florida, is imploring the U.S. military to get involved in security for President Trump, because they're really worried. He's understandably, and of course the president is. And you had the word Iran, General Holt, because of course there was a prior threat. There's continuing threats from Iran against this president after he took out Soleimani, and then there was that one guy across the border, the Pakistani guy. How big of a threat and how concerned should we be? I mean, this is a scary time. We've got 25 days till Election Day.
We all have to take these threats very seriously. I know President Trump is. I applaud Congressman Waltz's actions, but I also sent a letter over to the Trump organization with details about that request and what it should look like. Not sure how that's going to come out. I also wrote an op-ed about this, about how the Secret Service has lost its mantle of credibility, and whether they're just on hard luck or unlucky, it doesn't really matter. The president has to be protected. My understanding is the president will be doing a variety of different countermeasures because he is absolutely taking his own security extremely seriously as we get down into these final weeks. Then I think the Afghan youth who was picked up and the information around that doesn't make any sense whatsoever is reason enough to pursue a much better source of security in Special Operations Forces from U.S. SOCOM. Yeah,
that's really scary. General Blaine Holt, Ed Cox has a question.
General, this Afghan youth sounds like a real amateur, frankly, bungling around. Think of the pros who have crossed the border here, who know what they're going to do, and some of them willing to sacrifice their lives in an attempt on the president. Those are the dangerous people.
Ed, I think about teams, think about in Butler, had it been somebody, who was a skilled assassin team from Iran or instead of the, Ryan Ruth in Florida.
Does not sound like the Secret Service are ready to deal with that kind of a threat.
Well, I agree with both of you. I think you're both right, and here's why. I don't believe that these kids operate and I'll call them a kid. I don't believe that they operate as lone wolves. They're usually connected by what I would term somebody from the varsity team who's running these people, who's orchestrating these things and activating these folks. And so when you're sold some bill of goods that always an ISIS person who was heading back to Afghanistan, that doesn't even check out on its retail value. I mean, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So it's, if you're not going to tell us the truth, try harder. But what we need to take away from this is, okay, how many of these potential operations and scenarios and nationalities are involved? And not just on President Trump, but there's going to be a lot of problems, I think, around Election Day. And we have to be very careful to secure the ballot box. I have no idea why the country of Iran is allowed to have an embassy of any kind in our country right now based on their threats.
Yeah, no question about it. And they're threatening U.S. allies now, too, as well. So much going on. General Blaine Holt, thank you so much. We love having you here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Get the facts. For your free timeshare exit info kit, go to iCancelTimeshare.com. That's iCancelTimeshare.com. iCancelTimeshare.com.